Replay the tape again. Well, replay the tape. No, I was specific about what I said. I provided context.
Right.
Nobody should tell me any nonsense.
Well,
if people have a different opinion, they are entitled. No, there's no nonsense.
Good morning, everyone. For some days now, Ruben Abati has been trending on the internet space in Nigeria. He's trending not just for good reasons alone, but this time around, he's trending because of what he alleged that Igbos don't sell land to foreigners. When he said that, a lot of people, there were mixed reactions. A lot of people reacted to what he said and they quoted him wrong that is not true. Because I have my friends who are from Kogi State, they are building hotels in Enugu, they bought their land and so on and so forth. So for Abati to come out to say something like that, he generalized maybe from just a single story. That is the reason why I always love to read Chimamanda's book. And Chimamanda always talk about the danger of a single story. So Ruben Abati was hoping to defend himself from a single story. Now, that is not enough. The following day, Oji Okpe was on her platform, What is Trending, on Arise News, and she was trying to narrate what Ruben Abati said and the way people were reacting to it. See, the way Dr. Abati reacted, if I'm the owner of Arise News, I'm going to sanction him. Just take a listen.
To just touch more on the issues in the Southeast. Yesterday, Dr. Abati took this story, and there was a flurry of reactions about whether or not the Igbo people sell land to outsiders. I don't know if you would like to address that, because there were a lot of people from the Southeast saying that it is not true.
No, I have no further comments on that subject.
Okay.
I was very clear yesterday. I was very specific. I made my point. I provided the context in which I was speaking. If people have a selective hearing, that is their problem.
Well, one of the comments is that you cannot paint a whole tribe with one brush. And they have debunked
Replay the tape again. Replay the tape.
No,
I was specific about what I said. I provided context.
Right.
Nobody should tell me any nonsense.
Well,
if people have a different opinion, they are entitled. No, there's no nonsense duty.
I think it's our duty.
If people have a different opinion, they have anthropological evidence to support it. They should say so.
Wow.
It's not for me to reverse myself.
No. I was just saying to clarify.
Except you are expressing your own opinion.
No.
And then I will come after you and say you are wrong.
There's been a flurry of reactions.
Yes.
And I have to present
that
it. It
comes
is my
with
duty.
the job. That comes with the job.
It is my duty.
It's a free country.
It is my duty to present the reactions of the Nigerian people.
And not to come and challenge me.
Absolutely not. I asked you if you would like to comment. I asked if you would like to comment.
I've told you.
Well, the conversation is that a whole tribe cannot be painted with one man's experience. We'll take another story. Another development.
So this is the issue that is very, very disturbing. You see the way Ruben Abati reacted. She was even angry with Oji Okpe. But it's not necessary now. Why is Ruben Abati behaving like this? And the following day, I really thank God for the guests that came to Arise News to clarify everything. So if you really want to understand and know the truth about this allegation, if I may say, because Ruben Abati did not carry out his research, his allegation was based on a single story that they told him, whether it's true or not, no video tape, nothing to prove that what he even said is true. Maybe he formed what he said from his mind. So if you really want to know whether the Igbo used to sell land to people or to foreigners, take a listen to this video to the end and let me know what you think on the comment section.
It doesn't guarantee anything. Why I take this trajectory is for us not to. There's what you call reported speech. In interpretative writing, when I make a statement and you say, okay, Ikechukwu said, you're conveying what I said. If I now say, okay, Ikechukwu said, and I agree, I'm endorsing, I'm taking ownership. So having contextualized it from the origin of the expression itself, that it was a narrated story, I've also presented counterfactual that the man actually has land donated to him. I will add that the former director of works at the Federal University of Technology in Owerri has land in Owerri that he bought. That's where he lives. He's a farmer today. If you go to Owerri, you have the Rotibi Street off Douglas Road. That street is named after a Yoruba man who back then bought practically the entire area. He was a great entrepreneur. Those Igbo people who own lands in those areas bought it from him. Then, of course, you recall that Umoru Atine Alaji was a mayor of Enugu sometime in the 60s, or was it 50s now? He was also in charge of land allocation. Igbos didn't meet and sell him, don't sell to outsiders. If you go to Enugu today, the one area, Garki area, people from all over the country have land there. So there's, I think even for me personally, when I watched the controversy, I said, thank you, Ruben, because this has thrown up a matter on which there should be national discourse more people will gain information and will all be the better for it. That's the essential point. The second one is about land generally. You know, why would anybody, you say, oh, you know, but if you go to the east, you don't have too many people who are not Easterners who have land. And the question is, why is it that people have land elsewhere? Because there's business elsewhere. Tell me, what federal establishments do you have in Enugu, in all over the southeast, that will make me leave my place in Yoruba land to come and buy land? Is it to be a villager? So we must also see the connection between national infrastructure, national institutions, national political headquarters, etc. The limited absence of that in the southeast makes the land there totally unattractive for anybody to procure. Why are Igbos buying up lands in Lagos? Because they need it. And I speak from some involvement in what's going on at that area of business. Little Road used to be made up of a couple of tiny bungalows. The same with Enowa Street. Go to Enowa today, there's no building there that's less than 2-story buildings. Check the history, you'll find out that it was the traders who went to negotiate with most of the people. Allow me build a 2-story building here. I will use it for warehousing. You live in part of it. After 10 years, it becomes yours and I begin to rent. And I speak because I know those who did that, some of them who were direct relations. That's how most of those places got built up. You may also recall that Nnamdi Kanu, an Igbo man at a point he was governor, actually met with the people, called them to a meeting and said, stop selling land. Do leases. Make this arrangement. That's when this alternative thing came up. Now, an Igbo man will not go to Newe and build a 2-story building to store his things because there's no port near him. He'll be throwing his money away. So all of that, you can take it into account. Why would I leave Kanu to come and buy land in Imo State or in Anambra State? Am I on drugs? There is nothing going on in those places. So the political economy of the Nigerian state is also partly responsible for the things we are blaming on other things. Now, putting all of that aside even, let's pretend all of this doesn't exist. National infrastructure. The rail system of any nation is at the arteries of that country. Do you have rail in Nigeria? Yes. Do you have it in the southeast? No. Did you used to have it in the southeast? Yes. How did some of us know places like Saminaka, Kajuru, Lafia, etc.? It was because we traveled by road. You don't have that anymore. And so, putting that aside as well, let's come to the issue of land. You say, oh, you know, land holding system. No, I'm not going to talk about land holding system, but I'm going to talk about personal experience. The southeast is land choked. The land is not available. You go to most places in the southeast, you find that people bury in their compounds. My parents are no more. One of my sisters is no more. They are buried in the old family compound. My cousin Ide has a section of his land he uses for that. So there are other things to be understood. First, the land is not available. Where is it available and you want to buy it, you buy. Go to Onitsha. Onitsha Business School is owned by Shogbeson. Professor Shogbeson is a Yoruba man. He started it in 2010. So it's not like saying, oh, it's only in the 60s, you know. These days, they are not doing it. Today, it is thriving as one of the best business schools, working with the people. Last week, I went there to give the keynote address on innovative entrepreneurship for under 45s. Most of those who came were the people in the environment. You wouldn't know he doesn't belong there. So, in essence, taking it, you know, in that trajectory, what has emerged is a perception that was fueled or is being fueled by people who talk about it. Ruben diligently acknowledged the virtues of the Igbos he knew. Put a however based on a story by Chief Benson. Looking back at it, I don't know whether Chief Benson meant it in jest, but the fact that he has land actually donated to him by Mbiri people, who are now right now, in fact, I understand, very, very angry about all of this, that they are being misrepresented, where he went out of his way to build them a post office on that land, etc. And also the cultural practice.
But Prof.
That your in-law wants land near you.
Prof, sir, if I may cut in quickly.
I'm here.
On the Mbiri part that you mentioned and the post office that the late T.O.S. Benson built, was that his intention? I think that the speech that he gave in Lagos had to do with the fact that he wanted to buy a parcel of land for his wife and for his daughter. You have, clarified that he got a donation of a land, from his in-laws, that would certainly be correct given the context that you have given to it. But for the land that he wanted to buy for his wife and for his daughter, do we have any contrary opinion against what he has said and the fact that he was unable to do that?
Okay, let me...
Yes, go on, sir, go on.
I have no interest, actually I have no interest in defending either Benson or Mbiri people or Ruben. I'm concerned to see if we can be objective in understanding all of this. Chief Benson is not here to be interrogated, so we can't say for sure to what extent all of this, his own reaction. Why would you donate land to a man you refuse to sell land to? At the time he was buying bricks to build, did he write "I'm building a post office"? In fact, if you refuse to sell land to him, that's the more reason why you will not donate land to him. If it's what he wants to do with it is not right. People don't understand the relationship. Remember, Chief Benson lived in Port Harcourt for part of his life. The father of his wife, the late Chinyere, also lived in Port Harcourt. That's how the relationship began. One basic thing about the people, he was one of their most loved friends. And I use the word friend consciously because the entire people held him as one of their own. So the land, so to now say, oh, they donated land to him to build post office, but they didn't sell land to him to build a house. Let's recontextualize it. A good in-law. He comes to buy land. You say to Fiakwa, it's abomination.
Professor,
we are donating land to you.
Question.
And they gave him a piece of land.
I'd like to ask a question, particularly when it comes to land and inheriting, because I want to ask, does this have to do with it being for a woman, his wife, or for his daughter? Because I know just not long ago in Igbo land, women couldn't inherit from their fathers in some places. So could this have to do with gender? Do we have different views on what women can own in different parts of the country?
No. The question of gender is practically global, African and Nigerian. There's a tendency to treat the female gender as the junior partner or a no partner or as part of the man's property. And the inheritance thing is all over the place and all over the country. So it's not an Igbo thing. Secondly, an Igbo woman can build on his land. Supposing, and this is a cultural thing in the East, you have a man who doesn't have a daughter, and who one of the daughters decides, okay, I want to keep the family name, and she marries a wife in the name of the family, and so she remains, quote unquote, the man in the place. But I want to take it around so that we see this whole thing about inheritance. I'm from the East. I'm the first son of my parents. By a law of inheritance, everything they left belongs to me. But I called a family meeting and said, well, there are 6 of us here. Everything Papa and Mama have left belongs to me. Is there any dispute about that? Everybody said no. I said good. From my own understanding and the spiritual orientation I live by, we are 6. If I'm the most irresponsible among you, nobody will take this from me. I can squash it in 2 weeks. Now, I want to divide it into 6. Each person takes his part because we're all equal. He had 6 children. You know, after I said that, a total stranger had said, well, we heard about what you're going to do. Are you also going to give the same to everybody, irrespective of gender? So there are such things. And that's what I did. Split it into 6. Everybody equal component. Somebody proposed, oh, since you maintain some of those things, over the years, and rebuild this one for Papa did this, why don't you take the value? I said, there's no value to a labor of love. The hug, the handshake Papa gave me, I have to return it if I have to take money for what I did now, putting all of this aside. The point is this. We are dealing with a controversy that actually does not exist. Ruben was not quoting himself. He didn't say, I hate Igbo people. He was trying to make inferences based on what he had heard and which nobody had contradicted. And Ruben is a scholar. So maybe the anger was like, look, are you querying what I think? It could have been better handled, but the issues are clearly as simple and straightforward as they can be. When you find that Igbo land with very tiny land mass doesn't have too many people there, you must ask yourself a question. Why would anybody come to the Southeast to buy land? Just tell me what business is going on there. Go to the Southeast now and cite any massive industry, whether petrochemical, whether... whether you like it or not, wherever you are in the country, if you're made GM, you'll come. Support services will come, technical people will come. The only thing going on in the Southeast in the name of business is the business of the people. If you go to Commotion, check the population. Is it filled up with outsiders? You find Igbos there because they find trading opportunities. They are traders mostly. So let's not mistake an economically and socio-political determined variable. Let's not take it to be a conscious conspiracy. Why didn't Igbos meet and tell Umoru in Enugu, no, don't allocate lands? So let's not delude ourselves. There is no incentive for any Nigerian outside the Southeast to go there and buy land. There's incentive in Abuja, there's incentive all over the place, because if you buy, you make a lot of money with it. Erufai came here and told us that the lands in Abuja are 80%, I think at least not less than 65% owned by Igbos. Now, were they buying it to keep? It was business opportunity. The rentals in Lagos, the purchases in Lagos for the same reason. So let's contextualize it properly and end this controversy. Yeah.
Okay, Professor, okay, the incentive in itself might not sometimes be financial, but let's talk about, the Igbo culture. In the Igbo culture, the perception is that land is often seen...
Sorry, please. Sorry.
Yes. I was talking about...
Sorry, before you
I was talking about the incentive. For example, the example that we've touched on quite a number of times this morning about this man trying to buy land for his daughter and his wife. In that moment, might not necessarily have been strictly financial, but trying to actually invest in his family is the point I'm trying to make. But let's talk about the perception in Igbo culture that land is often seen.
Sorry, please.
Yes,
sorry.
Please,
before we run away from that, investment for his daughter and his wife, we must also ask ourselves. T.O.S. Benson was a very sophisticated man, a businessman, somebody in the entertainment industry. If he wanted to make investment for his daughter and his wife, is it to go and build a house in their village? So we might choose to pursue it, but the fact that there's land donated to him at no cost, for me, given our culture and our attitude to in-laws, your in-law, you handle him as an egg so that he doesn't break the egg you gave to him. That's my perception of that land. That is possibly, at the time he spoke of land, that they say, no, please come, Biko, come and take this one. You're our in-law, you're our brother. That's a possibility I want to look at. The context of his statement, if you had a video, one would have seen whether he was joking or he was laughing or whatever. But he's taken here without the benefit of over 20 years of knowing what happened in that hall. We're seeing it as a statement he solemnly made. I went there to buy land and nobody sold land to me because they said I was an outsider. Who is an outsider?
Well, land in Igbo culture...
So the second point, the issue you wanted to raise about land...
how it's often seen as a communal heritage. How do these debates, especially like the ones that our co-anchors had during the week and the ones that we're having now, impact economic development in the Southeast, especially with respect to investments and partnerships with non-indigenes? I wonder if you would suggest any policy or communal adjustments to address these concerns surrounding land sales to non-indigenes while also preserving Igbo cultural values.
If I respond to that question in the way you framed it, it will mean admitting there's a policy about selling land to non-indigenes. That policy does not exist. That notion does not exist. That attitude does not exist. Communal ownership means that lands, you know which kindred has which land. The challenge often is that you may have a piece of land here and a piece of land there, and there are the lands of 3 other people in between your own. You now say, okay, I am interested in your land. They say, well, do you have land elsewhere? Let's compare the sizes and we take it in exchange. That's number one. Number two, as a family is growing, you already know that this is a person who will have the main house. If the family has no other lands elsewhere, which is actually the case in most places, including my own place, as you grow older, you go to buy land. My father bought the land on which he built. I bought land also, and with great difficulty. So there is nothing about outsiders. There is just no land. If people are converting their places to cemeteries, Because there are so many things that need to be unraveled. And I'm actually glad this whole thing came up, because there's this imaginary perception of this, oh, you know, they will come here and buy land and do businesses, but they will not sell land to them. They are so insular, they are so nothing of the sort. The communal ownership thing presents a problem from the angle of having land that's big enough for anything big. So to do something, you find negotiations with 3 or 4 families. Somebody may even refuse. You've got 3 sections. There's a 3rd section that will make it the exact size you want. And you say, no, we are not selling our own. We're attached to it. It's a family head who got it so and so centuries ago. All that problem is there. But as for a conscious, deliberate attitude towards outsiders, no, not at all. Let's look around. I cited Rotini Street, you know, where, yes, and all the rest of it. So we need not drive a narrative that does not exist. If you say that you don't have too many non-Easterners owning land in the Southeast, that's absolutely correct. If I'm a non-Easterner, there's no reason why I would go there to buy land, quite frankly. What for? Is it the population? How many of them in the Southeast like to live in another person's house? What business am I going? Is it that will warrant my going there to buy land? But there's business in Kanu that will make me go to buy land. I can build a hotel. There's business all over the place. There's every reason why I will spend $1 trillion to buy land in Metama in Abuja. If you lease it for 1 year, I'm done for the rest of my life. I mean, for 10 years. So what is it in the East that you have? Businesses, shops, opening and closing at the end of the week. That's why somebody will leave Jigawa and come there. No, he will come there and sell his car, holding only a mat. After selling, he goes back. He has no further incentive to stay on. Somebody comes from Bayelsa, he has something to do and go back. There's nothing to detain him here. You go to Lagos, there's a lot to detain you. The business opportunities are there, the incentives are there, the infrastructure is there, the resources are there. And you also have a metropolitan setting that will drive other businesses that didn't even occur to you before you came. The port is there. If you're not going to be importing and selling, you can service those who are doing that. Please tell me what's going. Take Innocent out of the Southeast, take Costaris, take a few of the companies out of the Southeast, which are individual investments. Take them out of the Southeast and tell me what kind of region that is. And as I said earlier, where is the rail line in the Southeast? The gas plan we've been talking about all over how to develop this country. What's the gas plan? He said, oh, it was in the what do you call it, in the plan. Where is it in the Southeast? How long did it take to build the second Niger bridge? How long did that take? Right. Onitsha Port has been on the card the first time it was inaugurated. So there are a lot of things there, but the point is, as I'm saying, I'm calling for objectivity. I'm calling for clear, critical thinking. I'm calling for a sense of responsibility in addressing national issues. And I think Ruben threw up a matter that has enabled us clarify something. And I repeat, his opening engagement in this was not his own statement, it was reported speech. As annoying as later observations may be to some of us and everybody, the fact remains that in that initial intervention, it was a reference. Why are we not angry that he started by praising Igbos? It was also opinions he had heard and accepted. And this time, the second instance, Benson, well, we assume he's not flippant, yes, but a statement that's over 20, 30 years old, without the person, without the benefit of a videotape, we can solemnize it, whereas it doesn't have that status in history. That's my submission.